And for the last 2 years, America's relationship with Russia has been viewed through the lens of Robert Mueller's investigation. As Attorney General William Barr wrote in his summary of the findings, the special counsel's report, quote, outlines the Russian effort to influence the election and documents crimes committed by persons associated with the Russian government in connection with those efforts. But Barr says the report did not conclude the president colluded with Russia in those efforts. So how is Russia reacting to this? Well, let's bring in Elizabeth Palmer. She's a CBS News senior foreign correspondent and joins us now from Moscow. Elizabeth, thank you for being with us. The Associated Press headline said, quote, Mueller report gives Russia an I told you so moment. So what is the reaction you are seeing there in Moscow?
Well, on the one hand, it's a kind of a giant shrug. You see, we told you there was no collusion all along. There could not have been a finding of collusion because we knew there just simply wasn't any. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, there's this massive outraged indignation that Russia still stands charged through Mueller's indictments with meddling in the 2016 election. And they really don't like it. Through a tweet that came out of the Russian embassy in Washington today, Russia said there's still no proof, basically show us the proof. And the Interior Ministry here in Moscow was even more outraged, saying rather haughtily, we hope that Washington eventually finds the courage to admit that these charges are a hoax.
Interesting. Has there also been some effort to blame all of this on the Ukraine?
Well, it's kind of interesting. Last night, before anybody really knew what was coming, some of the Russian columnists picked up on a story that came out of Washington originally, allegations that some documents had been leaked by Ukraine during the 2016 election that would have harmed Donald Trump. Well, some of the Russian press media picked up on this and ran with it until it became clear that the Mueller report was not going to charge collusion, and then it sort of fizzled away. Analysts think that if there had been charges of collusion, Russia would have tried to flip the blame, if you like, onto Ukraine. But when the report, we finally found out what was in it, it's kind of died away.
Very interesting. So, Elizabeth, what comes next for the U.S.-Russian relationship? Is Russia sort of, reaching out to the U.S. and saying, your move next?
Well, a lot of what really happens will depend on the Trump administration and the American, body politic. The Russians have signaled that they would like this moment to be a reset moment. They would like to have better relations with the United States. Specifically, they want those sanctions lifted. They're hurting the economy and they're curbing the ability of a lot of very senior Russian officials to travel to the U.S., something they like to do. But they're not going to beg for this. In fact, Putin's spokesman said today it's up to the U.S. to make the first move. But Russia would very much like to see things warm up.
All right, Elizabeth Palmer in Moscow, thank you so much.